So, like most people, I have a lot going on in my engine bay. The swap, the airbox moved over here. I've got a catch can, I've got the onboard ARB air compressor, but I still need a spot for an extra fuse box, mainly for things like a CB radio and other accessories when the time comes. Obviously, a windshield went off the battery, some auxiliary lights, probably off the battery as well. I do have an aftermarket headlight harness, which is also running directly off the battery. So that's getting a little busy. And I've been trying to come up with a mount and a place to put this thing. I had originally wanted to put it over here, but I have all this going on. I really like how this mount's set up. I've been looking back here. There's an existing hole here. As you can see, I already have a hole drilled in. This is just some scrap steel I actually got from my local dump. I got it originally for testing or practicing my welding, but it's the bottom of a dumpster. I cleaned it, I've sanded it. You can see it's pitted, but honestly, I'll sand it a little bit more and it will work perfectly for what I'm doing for it. I don't need anything too classy. But right here is currently my thought process. You can see, so I can pop this top off. I can angle both the connections so I can have my power running from the battery, which is where the stock 3VZ airbox is. I can ground off the chassis over here, just want to run a short ground there and be good to go. I have a grommet, there's a couple grommets here. There's also one up underneath the wheel well that I can pull the cover off of where your power antenna wire and come out. So, that drops right in by the ECU, and I can run some cables for some switches. That's actually where I'm currently running the ARB compressor switches. I don't have the lockers yet or anything. That'll come with the diffs from Marlin whenever that gets sent out. But for right now, I need to finish this mount. I gotta go get some bolts from the hardware store. Get that bolted in because it'll hold it pretty good, pretty solid, and see if I need to make any additional support, because there is some metal right here. It's where some old lines were held in place. Right now I'm using it for the compressor power wire off of the fuse. But yeah, so I'm hoping to get this mounted there. That's kind of our next project. Kind of be putzing away at it here over the next couple days and see what I can come up with. A nut and bolt combo for it, got a tiny guy. I do have a lock washer for it as well. I don't know if it's gonna fit, so I might have to go one size bigger. This is a 1/2 inch, 5/16. So we'll see if that works later. That does just fit, okay. So now I have to figure out how to struggle. So that goes through. Yeah. All right. So I want positive facing the passenger side. Just take this guy off. Make sure it's not touching any lines. Again, these are just the breather lines for the catch can. But again, you don't want it to really start rubbing on anything. More than enough room over here to pull wires in and out of the fuse block. I kind of like that. I think it looks pretty good. I'll have to sand this down and paint it, and the only thing left now, so that lines up pretty nicely, is to drill 4 holes and get some hardware to actually mount the fuse block to the plate. All right, we're gonna do some sanding. Well, lap wheel. To clean up this piece of metal. It's got a bunch of pits, rust, whatever. Again, not a big deal. It's going to get painted, but might as well make it look as good as possible. So I got on my welding table. Right now I'm using the bison clamp to hold it down, but yeah, we'll get going. I do have gear protection in. I have my mask set on grind, so we'll see how this goes. Bottom side isn't all that bad. Top side, again, still pitted a bit, but it's got some of the rust out. And now we'll move on to getting some holes drilled. We'll mark our holes for the fuse box, and we'll get some holes drilled. Okay, now we need to mark our holes for this bracket. My center punch is just slightly too big to fit down there. Maybe it isn't. We'll give it a shot. I just don't want to shatter the plastic when I do it, but it looks like it might work. So just clip that down. Again, I'm barely putting any pressure on this, just enough to hold it in place while I do this. See what happens. All right, so now we got to drill some pilot holes to start. Recycled metal for the win. All right, let's get some tools. We're gonna cut all of these down. Again, we have to cut this back one or get shorter hardware. I might just get shorter hardware, but everyone likes instant gratification. I also might just cut it with the nut on it and then run the nut back off. So it's we can fix the threads. But I almost don't need nuts because of how close I cut these holes. These basically just thread on there and it's pretty secure. All right, so that's there. Let's cut our hand a bit more. Reach under here. All right, so we need to get that. Vibrates a little. We might have to put a support in there. Real side to side. It'll definitely vibrate though. So we have to fix that. Maybe this mount won't work. We'll have to see. But there are some options to run something to stabilize it down below it. You can see there's not a lot underneath there. I could try running it to this. This is metal. It's where I think it was the old fuel vent, but I'm not sure. Right now I have the power for my compressor running through there. Not a big deal. We can use that. But I don't see. So let's see if we can get you. How can I show you that? There's a bolt down there not being used that I could run a support to. It'll push this up a little bit. It'll keep it off my vent lines, which isn't a big deal. I can move these as well. But I think we're gonna look at that. I'm gonna take this off. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So naturally I dropped the nut taking that off. I did not hear it hit the floor, so that'll be fun. But so if I move these, there it is. You can see that guy right down there. See, I got a nice small piece of cardboard here. I'm gonna take that off for now. It's a little hard to get to back in here. So I'm measuring from the top of this to where my plate is. So when I make my bend to come up here to the plate, I have a rough idea about how much space I need to come above here. Just to cut that cardboard a little shorter, I'll make fitting it in here all that much easier. Get that out of the way of the cable. Sorry, still learning how to do all the video. Appreciate you all hanging with me here as we do this. It's about an inch, which leaves me a bit to play with. So we want to try and come up as straight as possible from here, because when we were coming out at this angle, we were running into the mounting holes for the fuse box. So I'm trying to come straight up and then over to sit at the bottom of this plate, and hopefully that'll give us some rigidity. So I don't need this tight. I'm just looking to hold it stable, so I have both hands to mock up the cardboard. So, picked up some, let me move that, a bit smaller, 10/32. So these are 1 1/4. The other ones I have are 1 1/2. Hopefully this will resolve the interference issues with that one hard line. Got some flat stock steel. This is upside down. There you go. 3/4 of an inch. With an 1/8 inch thickness. Got 3 feet of it. That's what Home Depot sells. All right, got our small piece, got our big piece. I'm gonna start with, kind of want the center of our bend, first bend, to be about there. Lose your mark. There you go. Not even close. The beginning of our bend is there. believe that to be acceptable. It's a little hot in here now. Put some pants on and wearing this shirt, but came out fairly acceptable. It's not the worst welds in the world. It's thin metal. Pretty happy with it. Gonna let it cool. So we'll be using some Rust-Oleum. I think this is a semi-gloss. Oh, it's gloss. It's what I had. It'll work just fine.